Hi there BookTube, it's Eleanor here, and this is the start of my documenting my reading rush journey. So you would have seen my TBR if you've watched my TBR video, and I've got 5 books to get through this week, so I'm making a plan. I have Talking with Psychopaths and Savages. That's my non-fiction book that I'm reading, which is my book with 5 words or over. I've got 5 Feet Apart, which is going to be my book that hits the prompt of reading a book and watching a film. So this one needs to be done so I can watch the film possibly at the end of the week or one evening. I've then got Scars Like Wings, Alienated, and Everlasting Rose. Now I've got Everlasting Rose as an audiobook, and I've also got potentially, I'm not sure, but potentially these two might come as an audiobook. So I'm thinking I'll start with this one on audio, and then I'll start with this one as a physical copy, and they'll be my first 2 books. That's a contemporary and a sort of science fiction fantasy book. So fantasy, not science fiction. So I'll start with those 2 and then move on to the rest. What I might also do is add in this one to the mix and have 3 on the go. Yeah, maybe I will read sort of a chapter of my non-fiction every day. This one I will read as and when I'm reading physically, and then anytime I can listen to audio I will have this one going. If I can get through as many of those as possible, that just leaves me the 2 towards the end of the week, one to read and watch a film. So that, I think that's the plan. So I've still got, this is Saturday, so it doesn't start till Monday, but I'm just starting to think about my game plan now. So I think that's going to be the game plan. But the next time you see me will be the start of the reading rush, and I'll be letting you know how I'm getting on. And yeah, I'm really excited. I really enjoy the reading rush, or booktubeathon. It's a really nice time where we all get together and sort of enjoy reading, and it's the finish of the school term for me, so I'm going to be gagging just to chill and read. So yeah, I'll get back to you soon. Okay, so it's the first day of the reading rush. I've got school for 2.5 days, and then it's the summer holidays. I can't wait. I'm so excited. Me and Matilda are just shattered. We're ready for holidays. I'm going to start listening to my first audiobook of the readathon today. I'll listen to that on my walk to school. It's only a short walk, but I'm going to start it out. But if I don't know if you can see it on the floor here, I have... This is just part of them. I have 90 like party bags to make up for my year group. There's lots of little treats and things in there. I'm doing that with the teachers in my year group. We've all clubbed together to get sort of these party bags together for the kids, but I've been nominated to make 90 of them. So I think when I get home from school today, Matilda's got a play day and a friend coming round, and I shall be just sitting and wading through trying to get 90 of those done. So I shall be using that as an opportunity to listen to my audiobook as well. So I think I'm going to start with 5 Feet Apart, so that I can watch the film earlier on in the week. So I think that's what I'm going to start with. So I'm off to do that now, and I'll catch up with you a bit later. Hi everybody, so it's Tuesday. It's so hot here. I know it's silly to complain because other countries have way hotter weather, but it is hot here. And we're still at school. We've got half a day left. Matilda is outside in our paddling pool / swimming pool. It's really huge, but she's loving it, so that's good. Yesterday evening I finished 5 Feet Apart by Rachel Lippincott, with Mickey Daltrey and Tobias Iaconis, and I have to say I was fairly disappointed. I thought this was going to be better. I thought it was going to pull at my heartstrings. I thought it was going to have an emotional impact, but I felt fairly flat about it, if I'm honest. I'm going to watch the film tonight, so I'll let you know if that's any better, but I didn't get any like connection between any of the characters, let alone the love interest, but between the character and her best friend in the hospital, it just all felt a bit bland for me. I think it's, you know, it is spreading a very important message about cystic fibrosis and about, you know, what that means for somebody who has it. But I just think the story itself didn't deliver the punch that I was hoping for. I'm undecided between 2 and 3 stars, if I'm honest. I think probably 3, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just a bit disappointed. We're basically following two characters. We're following Stella and Will, and they both got cystic fibrosis, and they're both in the same hospital, and they meet for the first time. Stella's always been quite positive about her cystic fibrosis. She's very organised with it all. She organises all of her sort of medication. She's very systematic with it. You know, when she's in hospital, she follows all the regimes she needs to. She's got a YouTube channel where she does a vlog about cystic fibrosis. She's got a nice strong friendship network. And then Will is sort of been flitting from hospital to hospital. His mum's paid for various different drug trials, none of which have worked. And he's quite switched off to it. He doesn't really follow what he's meant to be doing. He's got a particular strain of bacteria which can cause an awful lot of problems, and because of their cystic fibrosis, they can't be more than 6 feet towards each other. They can't be near each other more than 6 feet, so they all have to stay away from each other. So it causes problems in terms of being able to form bonds and relationships. We're following this sort of budding romance. There's a slight mystery about Stella and her past, and I don't know, it just didn't work for me. It didn't work, so I'm going to watch the film and I'll let you know. I've just started on audio the second book in the Bells series, which is called Everlasting Rose. I've listened to barely anything, so I'm going to be listening to that next, and I'm also going to start my non-fiction book now, which is Talking with Psychopaths and Savages. So I'm going to go downstairs and read a bit of that while Matilda's in the pool, and I'll come back to you a bit later and let you know how I get on with the film of this tonight, and the other books that I'll be reading. But one book down, so it's not all bad. Good morning. It's quite early in the morning, not that early, but early for me. It's very, very hot, and Matilda was awake. It's the first day of the school holidays and she was awake at 5:30, which I can't really blame her because of the weather, but I'm just very tired. So, since I last spoke to you, I have watched the film of 5 Feet Apart. It was better to me than the book, but still I found it difficult to get on board with. I don't know, I just feel like it paints teenagers as really, I mean, I know there's all the hormones and first love and things like that and forming friendships and bonds, but yeah, and I know you don't choose who you form relationships with, but I just found, you know, their disregard for their own lives at points difficult. But then, you know, who knows what it's like in that sort of situation. I can only imagine. Well, I can't imagine because it must be horrendous. So it was okay. It just, yeah, I don't know, it just didn't work for me as well as I would hope. So if I was rating the film, I'd probably give it a 3. It was okay, it was fine to watch, but that was a bit of a dud for me. And unfortunately, I mean, it's the readathon for duds, really. I just read The Everlasting Rose by Donielle Clayton. I really loved The Bells. I know that a lot of people didn't and found various issues with it, but I really enjoyed The Bells, which is the first book in this duology, which looked at there's these bells who are created or there and trained to change people's appearance. It reminds me a bit, if you've ever seen the 90s film The Craft, I think it's the 90s, where they sort of change their hair colour by rubbing their hands against it. The bells sort of use various different things and special things within their blood in their body to change people's appearances, almost like performing plastic surgery but using sort of magic. And in the first one we learn all about that. We learn about sort of the politics in the court, the Queen's Court, and we learn about sort of everybody in there and how this sort of all works, and the courtly intrigue, and I really enjoyed that. This, however, I just felt the pacing was really off. It was very slow to start. There was a lot of moving about but not a lot happening. By the time we got to the third quarter, I kind of switched off, but actually that was the best bit. it went back to court, and I think that's where these books were their strongest, where they were back in that sort of in that place. Whereas moving around, I just felt there wasn't an awful lot going on. There wasn't an awful lot of anything to sort of keep me going. So unfortunately this one was a 2-star and a bit of a dud. So that is 2 books down, and it's Thursday, so I've still got Friday, Saturday, so 3 days to try and get through quite a lot of books, but I'm off school now, so there is a little bit more time to read. Today I'm going to try and read a whole book. I'm going to try and read Alienated by Melissa Landers. I'll be reading this in physical copy because I haven't got an audiobook. I have been reading a lot of audiobooks at the moment, but that's not going to happen for this one. Matilda's got gymnastics for an hour and a half this morning, which I just sit in the sort of area watching, so I'm going to read during that time. She's then got a play date, so I won't be reading during that because I'll be chatting to the mum. But then this evening I'm going to do a bit of reading as well, if I can stand it. I think it's going to be 37 degrees today, which is just horrendous for us because there's no air conditioning anywhere. So we literally are living in a sweatbox. And we live in a townhouse, which is it's not a new build now, I think it's about 10 years old, but they were built to sort of maintain the heat in the winter, and obviously we weren't expecting that much heat in the summer, so they don't really dispel an awful lot of heat. Downstairs can be cool, but obviously heat rises, so we're all on the 3rd floor sleeping, and it is so hot. We're coping though, we've got a lot of fans, and we're just trying to go slow and keep cool, but it's harder work. You just want to really slow down in this heat. So we're going to be doing that today, and I'll come back and let you know how I get on with this one, which is my book with a non-human main character, because one of them, spoilers, is an alien. Hi guys, so it's early on Thursday morning. You can hear there's noise going on at the school next door. We've started the summer holidays with Matilda having to go to hospital. She, not because she was desperately ill, but the doctors were shut. Turns out she's got tonsillitis, so she's on medication, so we're having some time at home today. She's scrapbooking and she feels much better now. She's on these antibiotics. But so yesterday she wasn't very well, so I ended up listening to quite a bit of audiobook, and I finished one that wasn't on my TBR, which was called Fix Her Up. And I'd heard about this from various people who read romance books, mainly Chelsea Dolling reads. She was saying how much she loved it, and I really enjoyed it. I ended up giving this one 4 stars, which was a bit of a joyous occasion, given how sort of, well, missed really the books have been this week so far. I'm going to use this just as one of my extra books to try and get the 7 books in the week. I just fancied listening to something else, and so I did. This is the story of there's a family in this small town that are quite well known. They flip houses, and all of the members of the family, all of the children have taken over from the father, and they're all involved in some way, whether it's the building work, whether it's sort of the staging and the modelling of the houses, apart from Georgie, who is the youngest, and she's quite a bit younger than the others, and she's always been treated as a bit of the baby, a bit silly, a bit of a joke. And she is a clown, and she does children's birthday parties, and so she's got some baggage there about how she feels about being sort of treated as the baby all the time. And then we have Travis, who was a baseball player and has lost his spot, and so is now struggling to work out what to do with his life and feeling quite sorry for himself. Now Georgie's always been in love with Travis, and so she sort of takes it upon herself, because he was her best friend, her elder brother's best friend, so she knew him from childhood, but she never told him how she felt. She had this sort of really big teenage crush on him, and so she takes it upon herself to sort of pull him out of this slump, and goes round and gives him what for, and drags him out of bed and tells him he needs to pull himself together, not really thinking about anything else other than trying to sort of help someone out, and help out a friend, because it's been years since they've seen each other. And then this sort of sparks off some different things. We end up going through a bit of a fake dating plot. There's some very hot and steamy moments in there, and I just really enjoyed this. There is quite a lot of quite explicit talk, There's a lot of sex talk in there, and dirty talk, and I think sometimes that can come across a little bit alpha masculine, and a bit well, almost patronising, I suppose. He treats Georgie a little bit like something that needs to be looked after all the time, but I think you balance that out quite nicely with Georgie sort of pushing and pushing against that, saying that she can look after herself and actually she can look after him. So I quite liked the balance there as well. So I really liked that. I'm really enjoying listening to audiobooks. It's much easier for me at the moment with being in the house and having to do things for Matilda. I'm currently sitting in my study. I've been sent up to print off photos for her scrapbooking project, so I can be listening to audio at the same time. So I've moved on to another audiobook now, which is The Field Guide to the North American Teenager by Ben Philippe. This is going to hit my challenge of more than 5 words in the title. I was going to read Psychopaths and Talking with Psychopaths and Savages, but I'm just not in the mood for it at the moment. I've sort of gone out of my mood of real crime, true crime, and I feel like I'm not quite back in that yet. So I wanted to read something different, so I'm going to read that. And then really it's just the non-human character, which is the 5 main challenges that I need to try and get through. I'm at YALC tomorrow, the Young Adult Literature Festival, so I'll take you along to that and do some footage of that. I'm going with the lovely Tracy from Flamingo Reads, and we went last year and I've been a few years running now, so I'm looking forward to going along to that. Hopefully it's a bit cooler because there's quite a lot of journey time on trains to do, and yeah. So I'll get back to you and let you know how I'm getting on, and also some footage of YALC. But hopefully I'm going to finish this book today, which then just leaves me 1 book, and I might read a graphic novel, which will take me up to my 7 books, if I can, tomorrow and Sunday. So we'll see. Watch this space. Okay, so I'm in the car at the station. I'm about to go meet Tracy. We're going to YALC today. Yeah, YALC stands for Young Adult Literature Convention. It's part of the London Film and Comic Con. So downstairs in this massive convention centre is all the Comic Con stuff, all the people doing signings, all the sort of memorabilia and things to do with Comic Con. And then the whole upstairs is now taken over by the Young Adult Literature Convention. It's such a juxtaposition because downstairs is massively busy, hot, sweaty, really uncomfortable, and then upstairs is just a haven of my peeps. It's calm, it's full of books, there's really nice sedate talks going on, everyone's polite to each other. It's just such a lovely space to be. It's got busier and busier as the years have gone on, and it's become more popular, but I've still really loved going. And so I'm meeting Tracy. It takes us ages to get there because it's in a really annoying place in terms of rail links, but we should be there near the start, and then I'll try and get a bit of footage while we're there of what we're listening to and what we buy. So I'll catch up with you in a bit. Ready? So Tracy, what are you looking forward to today?
I am looking forward to getting off this train, not being rained on, but more specifically, I can't remember the name of it. There's a panel about 10 o'clock, which is about...
Oh, everybody?
No, it's the other one with Victoria Schwab.
Oh, the mystical YA?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, maybe that one.
Sounds good.
Although we could go to the jewellery one.
Although we could go to the jewellery making one instead and be a bit creative. Then there's one you said about thrillers. That sounded cool. Yeah. And then there's a talk around lunchtime with Bethany Rutter, who I really like, about body positivity, so that sounds cool as well. And obviously buying lots of books.
Any particular books? I don't think I have this time.
Last year I got 2 books called The Extinction Trials.
Oh yeah. Have you read them?
I read the first one. Really good. Like it.
Oh good.
It's like Jurassic Park meets Maze Runner.
Oh nice.
Cool.
Okay,
cool.
I've got it. Yeah.
Very cool. So the third one of those is out, so I thought maybe it'll be like a symmetry if I buy that this year.
Yep.
I want to buy the third Becky Chambers as well. I haven't read that.
Yep.
But other than that, I don't think so.
Cool. Sign off and we'll go and see what we get. here. How long, Tracy?
Not even an hour?
Not even an hour. 11 books. I know. So I picked up loads of really interesting ones. Most I'd heard of, some I haven't. I've got The Inside of Out by Jen Marie Thorne. I won't tell you much about these now. I might do a bit of a haul video. I picked up The Brightsiders by Jen Wild. Lily's Just Fine by Jill Stewart. If It Makes You Happy by Claire Kahn. And when I bought some of them, you get some free review copies. So I chose this one, which is called Look by Zan Romanoff. I've got Tulip Taylor by Anna Maywaring, I think. Birthday by Meredith Russo. My So-Called Bollywood Life by Nisha Sharma. Rose by Patrice Lawrence, which really ticked the boxes because it's about people escaping from a cult, but it also sounded humorous. It's written by the same person that did Orange Boy and Indigo Donut, which I think Orange Boy won an award actually. So I'm looking forward to this one especially. The Furies by Kate Lowe, and finally the one that I'm most distraught about having to carry home but couldn't give up because it was such a good price. The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang, which is the sequel to the Poppy Wars. It is as big as my head. It's bigger than, yeah, it's big. And Tracy, what did you get? Hold on.
Oh, are you ready?
Yeah.
I have 7, which is not that much better. One of them is the same, which is Tulip Taylor by Anna Thing. The Extinction Trials Rebel, which is the only one I actually planned to get, which is the 3rd one in the series.
Have you read the second?
I have not read the second one yet, but I do have it from last year, yeah. So, but I have read the first one. It's really good.
And you enjoyed it. And what did you say it was a bit like?
It's like Jurassic Park and the Maze Runner. A lot of people say it's like Jurassic Park and the Hunger Games, but I don't think it is. It's more like the Maze Runner than the Hunger Games.
Okay.
But it's really, really good. Enjoy that. I got signed by the author Whiteout by Gabriel Dillon, which is about a horror book, which is about a school ski trip where they all get trapped in the ski lodge in the snow.
Good one for Christmas time.
I got an art of Screen Queens, which is about a tech internship, which 3 girls from differing walks of life win and then have to work together on. That sounded really
good, yeah.
Laurie Goldstein. I've got The Black Flamingo by Dean Atter, you know.
Just for the flamingos.
Because of the cover, and it has little illustrations of...
Because what's your channel name?
Flamingo Reads.
She loves flamingos, they're all over everything.
Look, and there's some as well. And I think it's like a coming of age reading verse type thing. 2 more. I've got Music and Malice in Hurricane Town by Alex Bell, which is about, like, it reminds me of the Casket Girls. Do you read that?
No, but I've got it.
It's really good.
Okay.
It's kind of like that, like Devils and that in like a New Orleans sort of setting. And it has a snake on, which I am aware is quite a...
I think it's set in the south, isn't it? Yeah, New Orleans East South, yeah.
And then I have Tarot, which I've never heard of, by Marissa Kennison. So there you go. I don't know anything about it.
I'm going to have to stop filming now because behind us is the panel that's about to start, so it's going to get a bit loud, but we're enjoying it so far. There is loads of people here, loads of stands. I bumped into the lovely Lucy Powby, who has a YouTube channel, but if you haven't read her book, The Paper and Heart Society, then you really should, because it is amazing. It's such a good YA book. Yeah, so her sequel is out next year and I'm pushing that book on everyone I can. So I bumped into her, which was really nice to see her. We're just having a lovely time. It's been a bit of a mad foray into buying books, but now I'm chilled. I've bought enough and we're just going to relax and attend some panels. So I'll try and get some clips of those if I can. Okay, so I've read My Little Pony Forever Friends Volume 1. I'm using this as my non-human character. I love the artwork in these books. They're so cute. This one wasn't my favourite. It was a selection of stories about the friends, and they were quite short and quite sweet and quite fun, but it was such a fast read. I mean, I read this in, 15 minutes. It wasn't a very long read, but it's My Little Pony. It's fun. It's got nice messages. I think I'll probably give it about 3 stars. I do prefer the ones with a lot longer sort of arc story arc, whereas this one was sort of like 5, I think, or 4 or 5 little mini stories, which isn't my favourite. I do prefer when you've got this arc that carries on a bit longer. I suppose you just can't get as much out of it when it's so short. I find the same with short fiction. I really struggle with that. I prefer novel length books. So it was okay, but not my favourite. But it's got non-human characters in it because they're ponies. If you didn't know, why am I telling you that? That's stupid. But I gave it 3 stars. Hi guys, so it's now Sunday, sort of late afternoon, early evening, so it's the end of the reading rush. I've actually managed to squeeze in one more book, which is surprising, and that is Alienated by Melissa Landers. I'm not sure, this was going to be my non-human character, but I read My Little Pony for that. So I think this one is going to hit the target of, it might be Melissa Landers' debut novel. If it is, then I will have met all the challenges, bar the one about reading 7 books, because that's just not going to happen. I think I've read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books, which I'm pretty happy with, if I'm honest. And this one came as quite a surprise. I'm ending up giving it 4 stars. It's about a girl and a boy. It's told from both of their perspectives. I've had this book for such a long time. It is a trilogy, and even though I've given it 4 stars, I'm still undecided whether I will take the plunge and get the next 2 books. I probably wouldn't buy them, but maybe I'll see if I can get them from the library at some point, because I did like it and I do want to sort of find out a bit more about what happens. But we've got Kara and Alix. Kara is a human, and Alix is from this planet called Lihir, which is very similar to Earth, but it's evolved quite quickly. They've used sort of genetics and cloning, and they've cloned out sort of a lot of what they consider humans' sort of worst traits and faults, and they have progressed technology-wise massively past where humans are. And Kara is set to host Alix as a sort of a host to Earth, and they're sent there to sort of find out more about some alliance between the 2 planets. There's 3 people from Lihir sent down. Alix is one of them, and he's going to live with her family, and then she is then set the next term to go and live with his family, or to live, he doesn't really have a family in that same way, on his planet, in the hope that there will eventually be this sort of alliance between the 2 planets, both getting something that they need from it, which we find out more about as the book goes on. But as with all things that are changed, there are these extremists that don't want this to happen and that are fighting it every step of the way. There's sort of danger and peril, there's romance, which, you know, is your cliche YA sort of science fiction or fantasy book. There's always some sort of romance in there, but I quite liked it. Yeah, I mean, it has its faults, but it was a quick and easy and fun, fast-paced read. I enjoyed some of the themes that came up. I enjoyed the sort of the pace of the story. I read this over, sort of started it last night and finished it today, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. So I'm ending up giving this one 4 stars. So yeah, I did enjoy this readathon. It pushed me to pick up some books. I've now just got 1 book, I think it is, off my TBR for the month to finish. To have finished all of my TBR books for the whole month, and there were a lot. So keep your eyes peeled for my wrap up to find out more about how I got on with that and how I'm going to progress in the future. But that's it from me. I hope you've all enjoyed your reading rush, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye for now, BookTube.